Hello, welcome to the Princess Talks. I'm the Princess. Nice to see you here once again. Look at my pretty friend, my green friend. How's your weekend going? Hopefully fabulous. A little bit warm, but hey, it is summer after all. So what's in the news this week? Not good, not good. First and foremost, I'm going to make this this is going to be a dedicated video to all the families in Toronto and Aurora, Colorado. My deepest sympathies to you for losing your loved ones. Words cannot express. I can't imagine what any of you is going through. Absolutely not. So I'm not going to try and understand, try and pretend that I know what you're going through, because I don't. But I have to say this. Those of us who have families and relatives and friends and loved ones, let's be so grateful, because within the blink of an eye, things can be taken away from you just like that. Anyway, let's talk about the violence back home in Toronto. I'm not going to sit here and try to find a solution. I'm not going to try to speak for the black community, because that would be grave injustice, of course. I don't know what to say. I wish I could say something to make everyone's lives a lot better, but it's impossible. You know the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. That is so true. Let's talk about violence briefly. How do you talk about something that is so severe? Something that's happening every day amongst our people, as in human being people. Not black people, but amongst everyone who's getting hurt. Whether you live up next door or you live 20 kilometers away and you're away from it. This cannot be good. This is not good for our society. Alrighty now, let me say this. We don't need role models for our black youth. What we need for our black kids are better parents. No disrespect to black parents, because I know for a fact that many black parents work so hard to give their kids a better future and a better life. But sometimes it's just not enough. But sometimes parents aren't doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not a parent, it's true. But I'm a grown woman. I've seen things every single day. Black youth, especially black boys, need their father. I'm not going to sit here and dog the black men out at all. Absolutely not. Because being black in this society is no walk in the park. No, it isn't. However, at this point, we cannot give up. I'm just going to say this, or remind black youth of this. President Obama. I know some of you are probably too young to remember the days when black people were not allowed to use the same toilet as white people in America. Can you imagine? A toilet. A stinky toilet. Okay? Let me be slightly gross here. A toilet. Those days are gone. And yes, some of us will always be exposed to injustice and unfairness. However, we cannot give up. Think of Mr. Obama. Can you imagine when he first started out as, when he started campaigning? Who dare him talk about being a president? My goodness. Yes, I know some people say, well, he's not really black. Well, guess what? Many white people consider him black. And that's okay, whether he's black, mixed race, or whatever he calls himself. Because I don't want to put a label on Mr. Obama. The fact of the matter is, there's black in him. The fact is, he's the President of the United States. I know, many of you black youth are not aspiring to become the President or the Prime Minister. And that's okay. I just want to tell you, please don't give up hope. Yes, many of you have been treated unfairly. People dismiss you, think of you as thugs, and you just say, well, I'll show you, yeah, I am a thug. Please don't do that. Think of your parents. Each time I see black mothers on TV or in the paper crying for their babies, their boys, their daughters, it's not a pretty sight. My mom has a son, and I cannot imagine her going through what black mothers must go through. And yes, black fathers as well. I will say this though. Black women have a responsibility with who they're having children with. Black men have a responsibility in being better fathers to their children. I know some black women, the first thing they say, we don't need a man, you don't need a daddy, I'm your mama and your daddy. Well, no, ladies, your sons and your daughters, they need a father. They need guidance, structure. They need a home. They don't need a house. Big house, little house, unshare housing or not. They need a home. Mom and dad. And yes, we're not going to talk about same-sex parenting right now. We're going to talk about mom and dad. This is what black youth need. They need a structure. They need a family unit. Once upon a time, the family unit was very important to the black family. So was the church. Well, you know what? I wish we'd have that. I know things have changed. Disco is gone. Platforms back. But you know what? We're not talking about fashion. We're talking about real human beings. The reason why some kids get into trouble is because they see, well, they have no proper structure, no guidance. They have no role model. Who should their role model be? Not Michael Jordan. Not Chris Bosh. None of those athletes. Nobody. Their role models should be their parents, their mom and their dad. Black people love kids. Yes, we do. I'm not saying other races don't, but we just love children, and that's a wonderful thing. But you know, we need the black father to be educating their black sons and daughters, telling their black sons sex, and their daughters sex is a wonderful thing. It can be. It's amazing. But with sex comes responsibility. Telling them to abstain, you know what? That's not realistic. That's not reality. They're not going to abstain. We just need to remind them that their bodies are precious. Being in love is wonderful. Making love to someone is amazing. Having sex with someone is fantastic. However, there are consequences. Emotional, psychological, and social. Like, we're not even talking about disease right now. We're talking about having kids when we're not ready for them. And not every young boys or girls who get into trouble were born to a single or young parent. And that's where the family structure comes in. We need family. No, we don't need white people or Asian people to clean up our mess. We need to take care of ourselves. We need a community, as in better parents. Structure. Parents sometimes are blind, or they turn a blind eye to what their kids are getting into. You know, they're kids. No, 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 no. These are your kids. The cops have a responsibility. But guess what? At this point, people don't care. You know what they're saying? Let them kill each other. It saddens me that some black people say that too. I'm sure, you know what? I probably said that at some point. You know, they're killing each other. But then I think, how can I give someone on the street a toonie here? Buy yourself a cup of coffee. Buy yourself a donut. How could I care about this guy in the street while not caring about people's children being killed? That's wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. So, you know, one of my objectives in life was to be a cop. Well, I didn't make it, and to this day, you know, I think, damn, I would have been a good cop. Yes. However, you know, you've moved on and you said, well, let's do something else. So I wanted to have a book published. I wanted to be a writer, not necessarily full-time, but because I think I have so much to say. Now, this is not a ploy to get one of my books published, but I tell you something, if my first book that I've written, part of the title is Eyes, something like In These Eyes, Through These Eyes, but something like that. If I did get that book published, I promise you, 80% of the final sales would go directly to programs in Jane and Finch, Scarborough, wherever young people are at risk. Yes. You know why? Why would I want to give away 80% of the money? Why the heck not? There are other books I've written or I'm writing, so you know what? It's okay. Whatever I could do to help young black men, young black girls, or young girls, the race, for disadvantaged youth, which would encompass all youth, whether they're Asian, Latino, blacks, or whites, of course. But because the black kid is more vulnerable, people see them more, you know. Black kids are wearing baggy pants, people assume they're thugs. It's unfortunate. You know, white kids are seeing it, they can just change their pants, go back to the nice middle-class neighborhood, and, you know, people are willing to cut them some slack. Our black youth don't get that chance. However, our black youth also must take responsibility for their behavior. Please, guys and girls, especially guys, your parents, do you know how much you're hurting them? I'm begging you, stop it. Please, no more violence. It's not good for you, your parents, our city, our world, our culture, everything. So again, I'm saying, God bless My heart goes out to all the families who've been affected by violence, because it is not it's not a good thing. It's a horrible, horrible thing to have lost your child. And to black men that are involved in things they shouldn't be, please, you can do better. I know you can. Do you feel hopeless? It's not a pretty world. There are times I feel hopeless, but I must tell you, I'm relentless in making it to the top at some point, whether it's through my books or through cooking. I will make it, and guess what? So can you. So please take care and make your mamas and your daddies proud. Black men, black women, get your shit together and stop having children when you have no time to spend with them. Take care. God bless.